So another issue we keep seeing is problems with failover. We have users who will set up failover for a domain and they will take their primary IP address offline. Then they'll test their domain and see where it's pointing to. And sometimes we'll see that users are not seeing their secondary IP address return. Instead, they're seeing the primary, which is down. So why is this happening? There's a couple different reasons why. Yeah, sorry, this is what you're supposed to see. Um, so the most common reason is people forget to commit their changes. In Constellix, we have this unique feature called atomic or stage changes. And what this does is you can delete a record, add a record, delete a domain, add a domain, change all these configurations around, but they're not pushed live until you commit your changes. This is so that there's no downtime when you're deleting and adding stuff. And then the second thing we'll see is people are running dig commands, which is just what you do in your terminal. You'll do dig-domain.com, see where it's pointing to. But that's not always accurate because what you're actually querying is the resolving name server, which will have some of your DNS information cached in it as long as your TTL is active. So what you'll want to do is actually run your query directly against our name servers. And you can do that using a dig command, or you can use, we have a free service called sonarlite.constellix.com. It's a free tool. We also have an in-browser extension that's free, and you can go to the tools section and run a DNS lookup, and you can actually choose the record you're querying, what name servers you want to query, a location. And there's a lot of other really cool tools in here. If you just want to download it and play around with it, it's pretty cool. And then last but not least, lower your TTL. TTL is the time to live, and it's the amount of time that a record is allowed to be cached by resolving name servers. So the lower it is, the more often it'll refresh. So if a failover event happens, it's not actually going to hit your recursive name servers until the TTL has expired. Another thing you can do is increase your health check frequency and add more checks per site. So when you're creating a sonar monitoring check, you have a bunch of different options, and we have some of them here. So your monitoring interval is how often we'll check your domain for being up or down. And you can have it as low as every 30 seconds. Now, if you have more than one monitoring location per check, we'll actually divide up your monitoring interval by the amount of monitoring nodes you have. So the more monitoring nodes you have, the more often we'll check to see what the activity is for your domain. And then the other one you can change is called our interval policy. And this is how many monitoring nodes we check per each interval. So say you have 3. You have like Seattle, San Jose, and Los Angeles, and you have simultaneous on. That means that in your monitoring interval of, let's say, 30 seconds, we'll be actually cycling through each one of your monitoring locations in that 30-second interval. So that means about every 10 seconds we're checking one of your locations. Now this can be a little expensive because every single time we run a check, we're going to charge you. But if you want to save a little bit of money, you can change your interval policy to once per site. And what we'll do is at every 30-second interval, we'll check a site. Then the next 30-second interval, we'll check the next site, and so on and so forth.